everybody has an experience of themselves within their relationship with money. And lately I have been reflecting upon who am I within my relationship with money, and just looking and appreciating at how that relationship has changed over time. From where years ago, before I started walking a process of self-responsibility, my experience with money was one of lack, and one of money being the master of me, instead of me being the master of money. And it's been really interesting to see how I've been able to change this relationship over time, where I am in fact the master of my money. And it's interesting because money does not have a directive principle, decision-making ability, or really a life of its own. Money is a tool. So how is it that we end up in these situations where money is the master of us, when in fact, if you look at it, it's not that money has its own separate capacity, but it is just an extension of us and who we are. So money is us. And the money that we have access to and that we can use to live and survive is an extension of who we are in our relationship to money, who we are as money. So I just want to mention a few points that really assisted and supported me in my process with money. And that is my emotional relationship that I had developed with money, where there was really no directive principle whatsoever. It's like spending money became this emotional experience, this feeling experience of either positivity or negativity, where if I got a lot of money somehow, or extra money, and I would spend it, I would feel good. And in looking at this, it's like this is how I became enslaved to my relationship with money, because I didn't know how much was coming in versus how much was going out, and I would just spend it as I got it. And if I felt down, I could use spending money to pick me up. And over time, I slowly took back my power within money, and that involved discipline. So it's like in life, you have bills to pay. That is consistent. You always have to pay them. So one of the things I started with was my bills, my basics. As soon as I finally figured out how much I had coming in versus how much I owed, I started to look at my relationship between paying those bills, where it's like before, every time I would pay bills, I would feel like this blow, this like, I just got to give my money away again. And when I started taking control and started changing that relationship, I started to take directive principle within the experience I had within paying my bills, which was almost a gratefulness of being grateful towards myself for working, for earning money so that I could have the goods and services that I needed to survive. A lot of people don't even have that. So it was within great appreciation for myself and for the services available that I would pay my bills in order to support myself, to be able to do the things that I like to do and that I want to do, that I need to do. And so once I started dropping these reactions of having to every time pay a bill, these reactions of something being taken from me, and changing them to experience of gratefulness and a living gratefulness, what happened as a result of that was that when I had unexpected payments due or unexpected expenses, instead of going into intensified fear and lack, I would go into a sense of control. Like, okay, I know the bills that I have paid in the past, I have no reactions that I'm holding on to with regards to those payments. So that now, when I'm being confronted with a situation where there's an unexpected expenditure, it is almost a feeling of responsibility, where yes, I can do this. I know that I can adjust myself in the future. I know that I can plan myself in such a way where this is not a blow to me, but rather something that I can do, something that I can work with. And there's almost this forward motion, because when you, let's say, go to the store and buy something that you know that you're only buying it for the experience of having purchased it. You didn't put the time into really considering if you need it, if the quality is good, if it will last, if it's a practical decision or a decision made in awareness, a decision made as the directive principle of your purchasing. When you make purchases within these undirected experiences of just trying to make yourself feel good, it's almost like you're making a purchase in an experience of the past, because you're making up for some past emotional experience you created, where you're now buying as a reaction. You're spending money as in a reactive stance, reacting to the past. And it's like holding you to the past, where now, as time goes on, and now you find yourself confronted by something that requires unexpected money, you're also going to be in an experience of the past, because of all these past purchases you've made where you've had a reaction of positivity, thus creating the polarity negativity of either guilt, remorse, I shouldn't have done that. All of those past experiences are now going to come up, and you're going to have a reaction to this new unexpected payment of, I can't afford that. I can't do this. This is going to put me out. This is going to put me into a position of lack, fear, survival. And it's really living in the past with your money through creating emotional relationships with it, instead of living in the present, of directing yourself within every purchase, just taking that moment to check. You know, some of the tricks I used was, if I go clothes shopping, I'll have a look at all my clothes, what's practical, what can I wear, what will go with what I already have, and what's actually comfortable and fits properly that I know I'll wear, so that I'm not just buying clothes because they give me an experience in the moment of like, oh, that looks really good, or, you know, I feel good in this even though it's not comfortable. Just past perceptions, and I end up buying articles of clothing that I never wear, or when I do wear them, it's uncomfortable and I regret it. Or when I'm grocery shopping, you know, if you go to the grocery store and you want to buy all sorts of treats for yourself, and then you get home and, you know, you have all this food around that is not necessarily the most supportive, or it goes bad because you bought too much. So it's taking a moment right before checkout to allow myself one or two treats, one or two prepared foods or whatever, something I won't have to cook. And, you know, deciding on a number, how many can I afford? And then going through your cart and taking out all the extras, all the stuff that you bought in a moment of reaction, a moment of emotion, where it's like, ooh, I want this. You know, not to deprive yourself, but allow yourself one or two or three, and filter out the other things in the cart, so that when you go through that cash register, there's no reaction. Everything you've bought has been a decision made in awareness. And so there's these little tricks that I've learned how to use, where I just take a moment to make sure that every purchase is rational, reasonable, and self-directed. So within living like this, I've developed a kind of mastery over my finances, where I've been able to say, I want to save this amount by this time, and been able to do it. I want to invest this money into this, and investing it from a very grounded starting point of knowing that I might lose it or lose some. And if I gain some, not to go into an emotional reaction about that either. Gaining the money and planning with it. And yeah, so it's really interesting to look into who you are with your money, and who you are at the point of purchase, the point of sale. All right, so that is my process with money, and I'll share more if more comes up. Thank you.